Oh, you know this video is coming. This one is going to tie off the whole E3 extravaganza. Now, I know I haven't covered every single E3, what is it? The E3 conventions, like all of the conferences, and that's because I didn't watch all the conferences. I had specific ones that I was going to watch. So by your guess, of course Nintendo was going to be one of them. So I figured in order to tie it off, I'm going to cover what I think to be one of my favorite E3 conferences to tie everything off. I know I jacked off the Xbox one pretty hard, but I think Nintendo overdid it a bit, okay? And that's just because I'm excited for a lot more Nintendo stuff than Xbox stuff coming out. So let me get started real quick. Now, the Nintendo Treehouse or Nintendo Direct that came out was like 40 minutes long. So I'm going to pick out what I personally considered interesting. But to just reiterate, almost every minute of this conference was a new game, new game, new game, new game, new game, new game. They were hitting the Switch with so many releases, it wasn't even funny. So let's get down to business. The first main one was Kazuya from Tekken being into Smash. Now, Smash always introduces new characters, and personally, I would have been excited if, like, Majima from Yakuza was put into it. That would have blown my mind. But I'm not a big Smash player, so, again, I'm not super excited for it. I am glad to see that Smash is still holding strong, and they're constantly updating the game. So it's kind of cool that Smash has a new character and everything. Really great, okay? Awesome. Then they had this Life is Strange remaster and the sequel, or, sorry, the third game in the series now coming out. I hate it when game developers don't, like, just number it. Like, I know that's a small thing to say, but just, it gets me. Anyways, though, Life is Strange is coming out again, remastered on Switch, and I might actually play it, okay? I tried giving this game an honest-to-God attempt. Like, I gave it the good old college try, but maybe it wasn't for me, or maybe I just had too many things going on in life, so maybe I might try this on the Switch when it's coming out. Pretty cool. Then we had Guardians of the Galaxy. Whew, a game that I am certainly not that excited for. I saw this in another conference, and it didn't blow me away. Like, during the Square Enix conference, they showed the crap out of Guardians of the Galaxy. Didn't blow me at all. And the fact that it's a cloud version of the game, meaning that it's not actually going to be running on the Switch, it makes me wonder why somebody would play an internet-connected version of a game on a portable system that you should take with you anywhere you go. You get the game on PC, base Xbox One or Xbox One X or Series X, and PlayStation 4 and 5, if you want to actually play the game. Just my honest opinion. Then you had a bunch of, like, trailers hitting you, like, you know, full and center, like an automatic pistol. One of them was Worms Arena. So Worms is back as an arena shooter. So I guess we have, like, Lyro. You know, that old, like, asset play, like, downloadable Windows 32 game? Yeah, that's a full Switch game now, so if you're excited for some Worms Arena, sure. If it's, like, $15, I'll probably mess around with it. Then you had a side-scroller RPG that I'm kind of forgetting the name of right now, but I definitely might get it on a sale, because right now it looks a little bit convoluted, kind of has a Flash game vibe to it, and I just have a lot of RPGs to finish anyways. I'm still chewing my way through Bravery Default 2, but it's cool to see, like, RPGs coming onto the Switch, which now is my preferred way of playing any JRPG. I can't sit in front of a home console, and God forbid I'm not sitting in front of my computer to play an RPG. The Switch, even if you have to play at lower resolutions and frame rates, always better than anything. Dragon Quest 11? God, what an amazing game to have to the Switch. Jesus Christ. Now, of course, moving on from that outburst, we also have Super Monkey Ball, okay? So Super Monkey Ball's here, and it looks like a remix of previous games, but I think it's a full straight-up new game, if I'm not mistaken. This is a game that I only know from speedruns, and back when I was a young kid, I saw it on the Game Boy Advance, and I think I begged my parents to get it, but they just forgot about it, so I never played Super Monkey Ball, okay? I had the opportunity, but God took it away from me. I might pick that game up on a sale. Like, it doesn't exactly blow me away, but it's also one of those quirky, like, easy pick up to play games that I might just try with down the road, right? Now, the big announcements were Mario Party Superstars. Not Super this time, just a Mario Party Superstar action. Now, I haven't played a Mario Party game, like, religiously since Mario Party Advance. I know that a lot of people think that game is dog water, but I actually like Mario Party Advance. This game looks like it's going to be a lot of fun if you can find enough people. I don't have enough people locally to play Mario Party with me consistently, so unless this game is, like, really good online, yeah, I'll fuck with it, okay? But I'm not gonna mess around with finding a bunch of homeless people and goading them to my house just to play Mario Party with me. That's not how it's gonna work anymore, Nintendo. I'm just saying. Then you got Metroid, not Prime 4. That got mentioned, but whew, that game is in some level of development hell. No, we've got Metroid Dread. and it's a side-scroller action, baby. Now, I guess it's like a kind of a horror Metroid game. Maybe like SAX might come back. I don't know, that kind of a name. But it's a side-scroller Metroid game that looks pretty good, okay? It's been a while since we had a good, honest-to-God side-scroller Metroid game. Last one I remembered was the 3DS remake of Metroid 2. So I'm excited to play anything Metroid, okay? They could have made a Metroid Crazy Taxi clone, and I would have paid $60 for it, because at least for us Metroid gamers, it's something, right? We're kind of like abuse victims of Nintendo at this point. Like, basically, we haven't been fucking treated properly. The Mario fan base, oh, the Zelda fan base, you guys get all the shit, dude. You guys get everything. Us Metroid players, oh, we're in a bad relationship with Nintendo. It's almost like they don't care. But you know what? Metroid Prime 4 probably going to be the best game on the Switch Pro or the next Switch that's coming out, because I refuse to believe that game is launching on the same system that we're currently playing, okay? I'm just saying, that game has been talked about since the Wii U, alright? We all know how that one turned out, okay? Now, moving beyond Metroid was Just Dance 2022. I feel like I had to mention that because, you know, the Wii players don't get it, but you Switch players get to play some Metroid. Sorry, I still got Metroid on the mind. Just Dance 2022 looks like Just Dance, so if you're into Just Dance, and I know millions of people are because that shit sells like hotcakes last time I checked, you got it, alright? Now, they had this game called Raw Thrills Incorporated, which I swear to God looks like Excite Truck from the Wii, okay? The original Wii, alright? So, it's one of these, like, arcadey style Need for Speed Nitro racers, and I have to say, it don't look very much like a Switch game. It's got some budget vibes to it, and you know what? Fair is fair. Maybe it might be super fun. Honestly, looking at this gameplay for this racer, I would rather Nintendo buy the rights to Pursuit Force. If any of you know what Pursuit Force is, you're god tier, okay? From Sony, and just ported that over to the Switch, I would immediately buy like 10 more Switches in a heartbeat. That would be crazy. Now, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot got announced, and that's coming out with, like, the full complete edition. And I gotta say, I'm never going to buy a game anymore. Like, I'm just gonna wait for the Switch ports to come out. Because Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a game I bought on Steam, but because Steam requires me to mostly sit on my gaming computer, because I don't have, like, a setup to my main TV, I hate playing these long-winded games on my computer. The fact that I can get them running on a Switch and just play them in bed or anywhere around my house is a godsend. But it takes like a year for them to get ported, so yeah, I'm gonna have to be really wary. Will I buy Dragon Ball Z Kakarot? Sure. As somebody that has no knowledge of the Dragon Ball Z franchise, I'd always love to play any RPG. And again, may I remind you, the Switch is a god-tier system to play any RPG on, okay? And speaking of Shin Megami Tensei, well, we're gonna get to that in a bit. After all that, you get Mario Golf, which actually is a day one buy. I'm not joking. If you didn't know about this lore, I'm a real sucker for a golf game, okay? I'm not memeing with you. The amount of hours I spent on GTA 5 playing golf is unhealthy. So the fact that Mario's coming out with a golf game that apparently has an adventure mode, a battle royale mode maybe, is already exciting. Could you imagine battle royale golf? That's fucking insane. But I'm excited to play any Nintendo golf game because, honestly, the Mario sports games are always worth buying, okay? I have no idea why people buy, like, an NBA game or, like, any actual sports game when Nintendo sports games exist. They're way more exciting than anything you'd see on the EA circuit. So I'm excited to pick up golf. It'll definitely be a day one buy for me, okay? I mean, there's no way you can tell me not to get Mario Golf, okay? Get out of here. Now, Monster Hunter Stories 2. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of the Monster Hunter franchise. I've played, like, a good chunk of them. Monster Hunter Rise, one of my most played Switch games. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is a much more casual, like, RPG version of the games, and I know my brother is excited on getting it, and I'm sure I'll probably borrow a copy off him. I personally am not that excited about Monster Hunter Stories 2. I don't understand the complete appeal yet. Maybe I have to watch more footage on it. Maybe I should play the original game when it's on sale. But personally, I'm already trying to even eat through Monster Hunter Rise to this day. So I'll probably pick that up in like 5 years when I actually finish all of Monster Hunter Rise. It's a lot to process on that end, okay? Now you also got WarioWare, which, oh, thank you God, WarioWare is back! And it's not some DIY crap that they pimped out on us a long time ago. No, it's a full WarioWare game. You got a Bluron, you've got 9-Volt, you've got Wario. I mean, obviously you got my man Wario, you got the Pimp King right there. You got some Ashley. You got every of those classic characters, man. You got everyone from the WarioWare franchise. If you've never played a WarioWare game, they're like basically a string of micro games, like 3-second mini games that you play in succession. And if you've never played the franchise, you owe it to yourself to pick it up on like the Game Boy Advance. They've made it for pretty much almost every system out there, okay? So WarioWare games, super awesome. And the fact that we're getting another one is just even better. So that's definitely a day one buy. And the fact that it's coming this year excites the ever-loving shit out of me. Now, moving past WarioWare is the next big thing. Shin Megami Tensei 5! Now, I've shown you Shin Megami Tensei 3 and all. This game is fine. Kind of a shitty port on Switch, but that's a whole different story. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is a game that's been announced before the Switch has even come out, okay? So this has been a long time coming. And they actually showed gameplay, all right? Like legit in-engine gameplay. It kind of looks like a mix of the Persona engine, but then you also get this battle system that's kind of reminiscent visually of Tokyo Mirage Sessions. If you've never played that, it's also on the Switch, and it's also really good. It looks fine. Like, as a Shin Megami Tensei game, if you've never played them, they're probably hidden gems, okay, that are just now becoming super popular on our side of the world. But in Japan, they're huge. Like, these are games that are, I want to say, kind of like Pokemon, except way more in-depth, way more dark, way more mature-oriented. So if you haven't played an SMT game, you'd probably play like SMT3, maybe SMT4 on the DS, SMT4 Apocalypse as well, before moving on to 5. I think all the games are truly independent story-wise of each other. But yeah, no, these are great RPGs, and I'm glad that Shin Megami Tensei 5 is solidified. Granted, it's not going to be out for a little bit, but that's fine. Take all the time in the world you need to make this game a banger, because it's going to be a banger when it comes out. Now, you got Danganronpa Decadence, which 4 games, 1 extra. I've never played it before. I played all the Danganronpa games religiously. I love Danganronpa, and the fact that I just bought a super expensive collector's version on PlayStation 4, now that this is announced, kind of tilts me because I have to spend another $60 to keep supporting Danganronpa. I mean, all that's missing is the Nintendo Switch to have a version of Zenki Zero, which is another great game, on the Switch. Like, this is what we wanted, okay? I swear we have theorized this, and now, years down the road, the Switch is getting another game that works perfectly for it. If you haven't played Danganronpa, it's a visual novel. An absolute perfect treat to have on a Switch, on a portable system. Come on now. Now, you also got Fatal Frame 4, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's a re-release from the Wii U era. Now, it looks fine. Like, I've played Fatal Frame. I had a playthrough on my channel briefly of Fatal Frame. And while I'm excited to see where Fatal Frame is headed, and it's being popularized and coming out onto the Switch, it kind of looks like it's a bit laggy, all right? The footage that they showed in the Direct, maybe it was a stream quality, I don't know, but it looked like it was having some frame rate issues. So maybe this was like super alpha footage, but maybe wait a little bit to iron it out, because if you release a game nowadays with like these crippling visual bugs and frame rate issues, that leads to a pretty shitty experience. People are going to remember that more than the game. So if you need to take like an extra couple of months, take it, all right? But at least give us an amazing port of, or a new release of Fatal Frame on the Switch. Then you get Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and again, it ties back to the theme. Why do I buy these games? All right, I would rather play this game at 30 frames per second at like 720p, but have it portably. Because I used to play the shit out of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy Advance. This would be nostalgia alley for me. So, again, it's being re-released on the Switch, and I'm probably not going to pick it up again because I'm not that big of a Tony Hawk fan. But if you haven't played the Tony Hawk remakes, they're great. Now you get the option to play them portably, so get excited. It does look, however, a bit rough around the edges, so, you know, it is on the Switch, but I'm just saying. Now, you also got Advance Wars 1 and 2 Remake. So if you haven't played Advance Wars 1 and 2, they're Game Boy Advance games that if you ever play the Fire Emblem games, they're kind of like that, except without the permadeath bullshit. And this used to be like Famicom Wars, like way back in the day. So now it's being like revitalized. We haven't had a new Advance Wars game since like 2004, man, like the DS era, like Days of Ruin. So I'm glad that Nintendo remembered it. I'm glad that they're remaking these games, and the remake looks great as a whole. There's only one issue I have, and that's because they really screwed up Andy's character. Like, he looks straight up scuffed with this new art style, but overall, I'm excited for some Advance Wars 1 and 2, dog. I can't wait to meet my babe Nell and fucking take down anything. So this is going to be exciting. All right, I'm ready. Then we get some Zelda content, like a barrage, right? Like a Tech 9 of Zelda footage. We get Zelda Game & Watch, which if you're a collector, go for it. I mean, I'll stick to emulation, whatever, Chief. You get Skyward Sword HD, which it's just Skyward Sword, all right? But yeah, it's just Skyward Sword. I like the game, but what comes after this reveal is more important because it's Breath of the Wild 2, baby, okay? Breath of the Wild 2. Oh man, I could have like a 30-minute video talking about this game, but Breath of the Wild 2, and full disclaimer, okay, I love Breath of the Wild 1, all right? I know that game was kind of polarizing for people, like, literally you either loved it or you hated it from what it sounded like on the internet, but I love Breath of the Wild 1, okay? It was a much more return-to-form Zelda. It literally, it felt like you played the original Legend of Zelda, but with a fresh coat of paint, right? It wasn't just Far Cry Legend of Zelda. It was a good Legend of Zelda game. However, I did have problems with it in the sense that the dungeon design on it was pretty bare. Like, I mean, compared to like the in-game dungeons, they were very, very minimal. The fact that the game's dungeons relied purely on like the shrines that you would find around in the world was, I could live with it. I was fine with the shrines, but I'd rather in the sequel them incorporate more of those puzzles into the actual story locations, which there needs to be a lot more of. It cannot just be Divine Beast, boss, and then go to a different region of the world, okay? Like, it needs to be much more, it needs to be far more grandiose. I think Breath of the Wild was a good, like, foray into this new Zelda style. Now they have to, like, double down and really, like, build upon what they already have. They had some, like, new locations in it, like these Cloud Islands, kind of reminded me of Chrono Trigger's Antiquity section. So again, it has me overall excited, all right? Like, overall, I am full dick for Breath of the Wild 2. They said it's coming out 2022, but I think it's going to get delayed to the end of that, or at least 2023. That's just my assumption based on these Zelda development time cycles. That said, though, that was the entire Nintendo Direct or Treehouse. There were a couple things I left out, things that I weren't super interested in, but this is what I wanted to cover because this is what mattered to me the most. And I have to say, compared to the Xbox showcase, which was a great showcase in of itself, you know, setting in the future of Xbox, this one had a lot more gameplay. It had a lot more releases solidified, and overall, a lot of these classic sort of Nintendo franchises, like WarioWare, for instance, is now being treated as like a legit full-on game, not an afterthought. The fact that Metroid has 2 games in the work now, okay, is great, all right? We have Prime 4, and we have Dread, so again, great option. Zelda, we all knew Nintendo was going to make some Zelda bangers, all right? So that's a great excitement right there. And Shin Megami Tensei 5 finally has gameplay. So overall, pretty solid Direct Treehouse. Nintendo fucking stole the showcase. Congratulations. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what your thoughts are on this whole, like, E3 situation, what your thoughts are on the show as a whole. But more importantly, what are your thoughts on the whole Nintendo shit? Because this is really great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it right over here. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it. If you dislike it, I am out.